We're gonna play a game. I'm gonna show you for a split second and you're gonna guess what it is. Ready? Go. If you practice search engine optimization, you're a pro at getting things to the top of Google, then you could have spotted it a mile away. What this is a raging full mass traffic boner. A glorious near vertical increase in traffic that indicates that someone definitely knows what the fuck they're doing with their SEO. And in this video, I'm gonna show you a technique that churns these things out like pancakes at a Sunday brunch. What I'm talking about here is 301 redirects. When you take a website domain and you tell Google, hey, this website doesn't exist here anymore. It's now part of this other website, so send all of your sweet SEO love over to it. What this does is pretty much imports all the valuable links from one domain to the other in a single shot. And if you're lucky and you found a domain to redirect that already has traffic for the content you want to rank for, then you instantly start to rank for these keywords and start pulling in traffic as well. When you get this right, you'll see a huge spike in referring domains, aka backlinks, because you just imported a ton in one shot. And subsequently, a traffic increase like this will follow. What I mean by doing this correctly entails finding the right domain to redirect in the first place, setting up the landing pages to receive the redirect, and then technically executing the redirect correctly. Teaching you all this nerdy SEO goodness is the goal of this video. But before I do that, let me show you some examples of redirects kicking ass out in the wild. Check out this website, devicetest.com. It's a simple website that allows you to test your computer devices to see if they're working properly. Anyways, not important. Tossing them into Ahrefs, you can see that many of the main pages on their site were actually taken from a previous domain called Fix Ubuntu, which they redirected to Device Test after they copied these articles over. And then bam, instantly 1,000 referring domains pour in. And bam, 232,000 monthly visitors. Here's another site, Laptop 251, which has a couple redirects going on. But these redirects are going straight to this domain's face via the homepage. But sure enough, bam, 390,000 monthly visitors. But to be honest, I don't expect this one to last for reasons I'll explain later in this video. But one of the reasons is the fact that the domain they redirected might not be relevant enough for Google for the long haul. This is what it looks like in archive.org. Looks like an old Indian cell phone company. Not quite a laptop review site, but maybe it's close enough. Time will tell. The 301 redirect technique isn't about just benefiting brand new sites though. You can redirect to an existing domain to give it a boost. Look at this redirect action Larry Ludwig has going on. A very tasty DR70 shivarweb.com being one of them. Smart buy if you ask me. And the way he's doing the redirects is the way I recommend doing them too, by making it look like there was an acquisition. And don't worry, I'll be laying out that strategy soon. Since he did things the right way, I'm not surprised to see his referring domains, domain rating, and traffic graphs looking like this. If you want a couple more high-profile examples, Neil Patel redirected Ubersuggest over to his main domain here. And Backlinko acquired and swallowed up a whole bunch of links and traffic from pointblankseo.com as well. Why does this work? According to Gary Ilias from Google, 301s don't lose page rank. What that means in non-geek terms is that when you do a redirect, all the backlinks that went to the first site retain all their power when they're imported to the new site. In practice though, I honestly feel like the retention is about 80 to 90%. Of course, there's no scientific basis around this gut feeling, but I've been in situations where I needed to redirect one domain to another, and there's indeed a slight loss in original rankings. That said, when you do the redirect incorrectly, you get 0% of that carryover. And of course, we'll get to that soon. Is this technique white hat? Think about it like this. The world is a big place and the internet is arguably even bigger. New companies are formed, they grow, and they look to acquire old companies. And vice versa. Old companies gobble up new companies to integrate them into their portfolio. And when this happens, it's a very common case that one website is redirected into another website, in the same style as many of the examples that we saw before. Now thinking about it like this, how, or should I say why, would Google ever penalize natural normal behavior that happens on the internet every single day? They wouldn't. Of course, there's a lot of Google documentation on link schemes, where you're trying to manipulate the algorithm with links, but you'd have to pull off a 301 redirect extremely poorly to be busted for manipulation. By the way, if you like this video, here's where I ask you to manipulate the like button. Please redirect your attention straight down to this lonely looking thumbs up and smash the hell out of it, please. That helps the YouTube algorithm gods know that you want to see more content just like this. Let me start off by saying that there's a few details in this process. If you want the play-by-play on how to get this done, check out my course, The Affiliate Lab. But I wanted to give you something actionable today. So here's the essential main steps. Now, step one in doing a 301 redirect correctly is finding the right domain to redirect to your site. I'd also say that this is the most important step as well. I mean, if you're importing a Miata engine into your Ferrari, Ferrari, it's obviously not going to go well. Your primary concern is finding a domain that's relevant enough to redirect to your site. That's the key to making a redirect work. It didn't always happen to be the case though. Google Search Liaison John Mueller mentioned in a Hangout that during a redirect, when the old content is off topic enough from the new content, they might reset the links. So as much as possible, try to line up the relevancy. Some examples of redirects that I pulled off are, I've redirected a student housing development website to one of my sites in the education space. I redirected a defunct government water supply company to my site that reviews water filters. I've also redirected a bankrupt gym website to my site about weight loss. Next, you want some power behind that domain. And power comes in the form of backlinks.
Power is power.
What's the point of importing links to your site if those links aren't powerful or authoritative enough in the first place? In terms of authority, I'd shoot to look for domains with a domain rating of at least 40. That's a decent level of authority to be worth your time. But obviously more is better. You're also looking for rare links that are difficult to outreach or even pay for. Open up a referring domains report and filter by do follow links. Look at the best links the site has and ask yourself, are these hard to get? Would they make a big difference to my site if I had them? You also want to make sure the links are moderatively relevant to your niche. One way to do that is to look at the anchor text going to your redirect website. Are they on topic? Next, are the links clean? Does the domain have a bunch of spam, or is the link profile relatively clean? Remember, you're inheriting all the links. You don't want to be inheriting a bunch of crap. After that, you want a minimal drop history. If a domain had been owned and sold and passed around like a joint at a Snoop Dogg concert, you probably want to skip it. I'll show you where to get completely non-drop domains soon. And here's a bonus criteria. If you're buying a site that is currently live and getting traffic on content that you want to have on your site as well, that's the creme de la creme. Of course, you can do redirects just to import some backlinks, but if you can get new content and traffic while you're at it, that's just the ultimate play here. And that's essentially what Larry Ludwig did when he imported ShevarWeb. Just look at the increase in organic pages and resulting organic traffic. All these pages marked new are new, meaning he got them with a 3-1 redirect. Now, all this criteria is a pretty tall order, so where can you actually find domains like these? There's various places to buy auction domains. There's also places where you can drop catch domains. That is, get them right before they drop and before they potentially lose that undrop status. But to be honest, I've never used them, namely because I've never needed to. For the last few years, I've been getting all the domains I use for 301s from Otis Global. What I like about their domains is that they're already pre-audited for the same criteria we're already looking for. They're non-dropped, they have clean link profiles, and they have a huge selection. They also have a huge database, so you can pretty much filter for any category of site that you're looking for. If you want a 301 a crypto domain, here's your crypto domains. Use a special link in the description to sign up for Otis and get a free $100 store credit. I'll also earn a small commission, which will probably go to either video games or booze. So you know you'll be supporting a great cause.
Shut up and take my money!
Step 2 to the 301 redirect process is creating a proper landing page to absorb the 301 redirect. In many cases, you'll be redirecting the pages with links and traffic to similar pages on your site. But what to do about the home page? Introducing the acquisition method. With the acquisition method, you want to create a piece of content on your site that announces the acquisition of the other domain into yours. A great example of this is Larry's acquisition made for a site E301 called bloggerdesign.com. At the top of the page, you write a bit of content about the history of bloggerdesign.com and what kind of content it had on the site. Make sure to actually spell out the name of the redirected site in both the H1 on the page and the SEO meta title. Now, down here at the bottom is where you link out to the most important pages on your site that you want to send this juicy imported link love to. Think of it like this. A huge tidal wave of links just landed on this page. Each of these internal links is a pipeline, distributing that wave to the important pages on your site. I've left a link to a video on interlinking and siloing in the description, so make sure to check it out after you finish this video. As you can see right here, with the acquisition landing page set correctly, you can redirect the Blogger Design homepage directly to it. If the website you're 301ing is super relevant, then you can go ahead and redirect the homepage directly to your homepage, like what was done with the Shivar website. But when in doubt, just create the acquisition page yourself. That way you can craft the perfect relevance. Now, what if the site you want to redirect has many pages with backlinks, not just the homepage? Or what if you want to take the content from one site and bring it into yours so you can rank for it yourself? In this case, you not only want to create the homepage landing page, but you want to create landing pages for each article as well. Let's take a look at this Wix review page. Here's what the Wix page used to look like on ShevarWeb before it was redirected. It's got this review summary box up here at the top. Then, what is Wix? Then, is Wix safe? Then, is Wix free? And here's the landing page for the same Wix content. We got the summary box at the top, dramatically improved, I must say. Then we have our familiar friends with what is Wix safe, and is Wix free. You just copy it over and add some small improvements if you want to. The thing is, with 301 redirects, there's no duplicate content issue. Google knows you own the content. To be straight, I'd only create additional landing pages outside the acquisition page if you're 301ing content, like we just saw, or you're 301ing pages that have a decent amount of links, 20 or more. There's still a few more small tricks that'll give the landing pages a bit more relevance, but I'll leave those for Affiliate Lab members. Next up, you want to actually perform the redirect itself. There's a few ways to do this, some of them incorrect, so make sure you pay attention so you can stick the landing. There's typically 3 ways that most people do redirects. The first is through the registrar. Like, you can just set up your GoDaddy settings to redirect one of your domains to another. The downside for this approach is that your only option is just to redirect every page from one site to one page of another site. There's no granularity. You can also do redirects through an htaccess file once you've hosted a site. The benefit to this approach is you've got that page level granularity. The downside is that you have to actually host the site, which is lame, but it's missing one of the crucial components that the next approach has. The third method is using a 301 redirect using Cloudflare. This is the one I highly recommend for you. Cloudflare is awesome for these types of redirects for a few reasons. First, you get page-to-page redirection. This is absolutely crucial if you're redirecting content from one site to another. Second, it's easy. Third, which is the main reason, Cloudflare gives you an anonymous DNS. This makes it impossible for Google to assume that a domain has changed ownership at all. Let me explain why. Let's say you had your registrar's name servers pointing to ns1.hostingcompany.com. Then when you do the redirect, you change your DNS to a Cloudflare generic 1.1.1.1 server. Can we assume that the domain changed owners? Or did someone just install Cloudflare? There's no way to know. Plus, if you got your domain from Otis, which are already Cloudflare enabled, then the DNS goes from 1111 to 1111. There's no change at all. How freaking awesome is that? Performing a redirect in Cloudflare is pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to bore you with the details in this video, but if you want the step-by-step, again, check out the Affiliate Lab. Remember, when you're doing the redirect, here's your options. You want to redirect the homepage of the age domain to the acquisition page or the homepage of your website if it's super relevant. When in doubt, acquisition page is the safe bet. Then you want to redirect the inner pages of the old domain to recreated inner pages on your site if you're taking over the content or they have a bunch of links. You'll know the 301 redirect is done correctly if you plug in one of the old URLs into your browser and you end up getting the corresponding landing page on your site. The old URL should eventually de-index from Google's index if it wasn't already. Now, the next set of tips I got for you add some icing to the cake. Here's some SEO voodoo tricks you should do to improve your chances at a good result from your redirect. First, get a press release announcing the acquisition of the old domain into your business. I found that a little offsite buzz as well as an influx of backlinks is good practice for getting a 301 to kick in earlier. For these types of press releases, I recommend Web20 Ranker's press release service. Use coupon code DIGGITY15 for 15% off. There's a link to their service in the description. Next, get some social signals on both the homepage of the redirected site as well as the acquisition page. This helps kick off some user metrics and gets traffic on both sides of the redirect. For this, I'm using SEO Butler. Use coupon code DIGGITY10 for 10% off. Step 5, it's time to wait. Grab yourself a beer, joint, or kilo, hold your horses, and be patient. Sometimes the result is instant, especially if you're redirecting a live domain that was already getting traffic to its ranked pages. If you're importing a domain over for its backlinks, sometimes you need to be more patient. Typically 20 to 30 days is the average, but I've seen it take up to 60 days. If you've done everything right, I hope you have a change of underwear because you'll log into your account one day and you'll be blown away by a huge increase in rankings and traffic all on one special day. Remember, if you want the full play-by-play on this method, check out the Affiliate Lab. Otherwise, subscribe for more videos just like this one.